everybody to the 19th annual Old-Fashioned 4th of July celebration. And again, I'm Rich Padova, the summer historical tour interpreter here at Lawrence Heritage, and assisted by my wife Lori today, as always. So again, I appreciate everybody coming today and your participation here. It means a lot to us here at Lawrence Heritage. And again, I thank you all for coming today. It means a lot to us here. So, now, I do not see the park supervisor here, Kyle. Okay, if he is working today, if he comes upstairs, I'll let you know who he is. But Kyle Clark, some of you know him, is the park supervisor. And the visitor services supervisor is Rebecca Moses. So Rebecca.
Hi, thank you all so much for coming. Like Rich said, I'm the Visitor Services Supervisor here at Lawrence Heritage State Park, and I wanted to thank you again for coming out to our lovely park for this wonderful event. If you're interested in any other programs that we have at the park, we are also open every day from 9 to 4. We have plenty of programs for the rest of the summer and beyond. If you're interested, we have lots of flyers on the back, in the back of this room. Maybe that table might not be here, but definitely downstairs. And we're again open every day. We talk about the history, culture of Lawrence and its place within the larger American story in a lot of ways. I'm very excited that you're all here enjoying our beautiful park. So thank you so much for coming again. And I'm excited for the rest of today.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. Some of you remember Jim Beauchene, who was here over 23 years, the Visitor Services Supervisor, right? So Rebecca is one of his successors now. So happy to be working with her this summer here. Okay, now, before we eat and before we do the public reading of the Declaration of Independence, I would like to thank those individuals and organizations and businesses who made this all possible here today, all right? So I will read out the list of donors. When I'm done, they're all in alphabetical order. When I'm finished, then we'll give them one round of applause, okay? So I would like to publicly thank those who donated here today and made this all enjoyable for us. So, Butcher Boy Market in North Andover, Crown Bakeries on South Union Street, formerly known as Bagel Boy, Dairy Queen of North Reading, the Friends of Lawrence Heritage State Park, the Grieve family, who donated some delicious cookies that we'll be having for dessert, okay? Heavenly Donuts here on Essex Street, Market Basket based in Tewksbury, McDonald's Restaurant / MCD Management Company out of Chelmsford, the Merrimack Valley Central Labor Council out of Lowell, New England Pretzel and Popcorn off of Water Street, the St. Alfio Society of Lawrence. And don't forget, I want to see all of you at the 102nd feast coming up now this year. Convera Fede, yes, right. We never forget the chant. Salvatore's Restaurant on Merrimack Street, the Service Center of Greater Lawrence Incorporated, and the T.A. Sullivan Insurance and Real Estate Agency, former Mayor Mike Sullivan, who owns it, great guy, a great friend of the park. So if we can give all these people and businesses a round of applause. So, if you're ever in contact with any of these businesses or individuals to do your shopping or to take care of your personal needs, and you're talking to any of those people there, be sure to tell them, thank them for helping to make this all possible here today. All right? So, now I would also like to thank, Kyle, the park supervisor, Rebecca, the visitor services supervisor, and the summer laborers who helped set up everything for us this week. Frank, Bob, Juan, Derek, Nick, Elias, and Nelson. So I think they're, yes. And again, a special thank you in particular to the Friends of Lawrence Heritage State Park. I know some of you out there are friends, I appreciate it. And for those of you who may be thinking of joining the Friends group, for today, we're offering a special half-price membership, which is only nominal to begin with, but you'll see the Friends flyers on the table back there and downstairs. So before you leave today, if you think you'd like to join the Friends group, see me or Rebecca, all right? And it's half price today, all right? And by being a friend of the park, we don't ask you to do anything, although on Labor Day for the Bread and Roses Festival, if any of you are available, we do appreciate your help, especially on that day up on the Compagnon Common, But being a friend of the park simply identifies you as a supporter of the park, and it means that you'll be on our email list, So when we do send out emails about events going on here at the park, regardless of what season it is, you'll get the email so you'll know what's happening here, And current friends who need to renew for 2025, today would be a good opportunity for you to renew your membership as well, So new members only, half price today. Current members, if you'd like to renew your regular membership today, that would be great, all right? So, now also I'd like to thank the Eagle Tribune out of North Andover and reporter Terry Date, who had an article about today's activities here that we're doing in Wednesday's paper this week, all right? And again, I do want to thank all of you here today for your support and participation, which also includes the Lawrence Civil War Memorial Guard. And the 6th Maine Battery, and along with their cannon as well. And Tom Spitaleri, are you here? Okay. Tom will speak for a moment about a couple of things. All right, so Tom.
Thanks, Rich.
You're welcome.
Welcome, everybody, and happy 4th of July. Can you believe it?
Oh.
4th of July. It's 251 years ago since the first unofficial battle about the attack of Fort William and Mary in Portsmouth. 250 years since Lexington and Concord. And next year, 250 years. Can you believe it? I've been here 94 years of my own life.
He's only kidding.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm wrong. 49 years of my life. But through the last over 20 years, because I just found an old flyer that I started this, I think, at least 2001, I started putting this exhibit up elsewhere in here. In this room here, you're going to see some new stuff, some old stuff. This room here is full of my bicentennial collection. It's in this room, and then after we get the food going, we're going to open up the main exhibit hall, which is loaded with a lot of stuff you guys haven't seen, because over the last month I've been lucky enough to get a whole bunch of new things. And this exhibit this year is going to be up because it's the 250th anniversary for some things. The Essex National Heritage Commission is celebrating 250 this year and next year too. The bicentennial exhibit will be up right to the end of September, all summer long at the park, and it's going to be one of the headline features for the Trails and Sales event that comes up at the end of the September, the last 2 weekends of September. So I want to thank everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed the exhibit. Bring back those memories what happened 49 years ago. And then 250 plus years ago. So thank you, everybody. I can get back to what I was doing. Oh, cooking.
Yes, so there's a lot of volunteers behind the scenes, for example, Tom cooking. So thank you to them too.
Yes, so, and Tom, by the way, is a fellow historian and a friend of the park and a foremost collector of 1976 bicentennial memorabilia. Okay, now, before we do the public reading of the declaration, one other little announcement. So, now, as Tom was mentioning, right, next year is the big one, right? Okay, 250 years next year, we'll be celebrating, right, our nation's birthday, okay? And it's actually going to be a double celebration because not only will it be the 250th birthday of the United States 1 year from today now, right? But it will also be the 20th celebration, the old-fashioned 4th of July here at Lawrence Heritage, okay? So it'll be like a double celebration, 20 years of me doing this here, and then the 250th birthday of our country, all right? So in light of that, I have a very special 4th of July planned for all of you next year, all right? Now, I'm not trying to rush time. I don't want to get myself older here, make myself older, right? So I'm not trying to rush time, but mark your calendars, okay? So 1 year from now, on Saturday, July 4th, 2026, all right? I always have a different kind of entertainment in the morning, starting at 11. This year, we had Eduardo, the magician, okay? So next year, I am going to have a New Orleans-style jazz band, okay, playing here 4th of July morning, okay? They're out of South Church in Andover, very highly acclaimed, and I've already booked them, so they're coming, okay, 1 year from today, all right? So, yes, all right? And then, of course, the usual, we'll do the flag raising, the parade, the nice luncheon, and all that, okay? Now, because it's a milestone next year, I am going to expand the celebration to 2 days, all right? Party time next year, right? 250 for the country, 20 for us, okay? So, we will start celebrating on Friday, July 3rd next year, all right? So, mark your calendars, 11 a.m., Friday, July 3rd, 2026, okay? I'm going to have Abigail Adams here, all right? Now, some of you, she was here 4 years ago. Some of you probably attended that July 4th event here, okay? So Cheryl Fay out of Amesbury, she impersonates, right, historical women, Eleanor Roosevelt, Amelia Earhart, Clara Barton, Abigail Adams, and so forth. Google her sometime. Highly acclaimed, all right? So, I booked her for next year, all right? So, Friday, July 3rd, 2026, 11 a.m., out in the park next door, Cheryl Fay will be here doing her Abigail Adams performance, okay? Now, for those of you who were here 4 years ago when she did it, she has completely revamped her performance, okay? So she assures me, so it won't be repetitive. So if you saw her here 4 years ago, you'll get a different performance now next 4th of July, okay? So, and then there'll be some activity in the afternoon of Friday, July 3rd next year. I'm working on that right now, I'm not sure what it'll be. But again, if you're a member of the Friends group, you'll get the emails about that as we get closer, okay? So, Britt.
Rich, will there be food on both days?
Yes, Britt. Yes, how's that? Good question, right? Okay, we know what's on this one. Britt Fowler, some of you know him, right? He was my supervisor here summer of 22. He was the DSS summer of 22. I had a great summer working with Britt.
Colleagues.
And he's a friend of the park now, and a very valued supporter here of our park. His exhibit just came down the other day. Some of you saw his art exhibit during the month of June, right? Okay, right before Tom set up his bicentennial exhibit. So yes, the plan is after Abigail Adams does her performance here next July 3rd, we'll have like light refreshments, okay, after her performance, and then Saturday, July 3rd will be the full buffet luncheon like we're doing today, Saturday, July 4th. Yeah. All right. So, okay. All right, and then, again, one other quick thing before we do the reading. So just, again, I just want to mention my programs here this summer. I hope to see you all, for other events here, right? Not just today. You're more than welcome to come to our other events. So my walking tours are on the green flyers out back and downstairs, okay? My Wednesday bring your own lunch program is on the orange flyer back there and downstairs. I have it up for the month of July. And then my Saturday morning boat tours are on the blue flyer, blue for water, right? Okay. Some of you have been on my boat tours. I know you've enjoyed it. We're doing them again this summer. Okay. They begin July 12th. However, I do need to tell you the first two are booked up, July 12th and the 19th, okay? So if you want to come on this summer's boat tours, anytime starting July 26th, okay? And you can sign up with Rebecca or me or whoever's at the front desk, okay? If you meet at 10 a.m. at the Bashawer Boathouse in South Lawrence, it's about a 2-hour round trip. You get full narration from me. We have a boat captain. It's a nice leisurely ride. We go up to West Methuen, turn around, and we're usually back about 12 noon at the Bashawer. Okay? And free, just like everything else we do here, it's completely free. Yes, ma'am. Oh, okay. If it's rainy, do we cancel it? Yes. If it's just a light rain, we still go out, okay? But if it's like moderate rain or heavy rain, we do cancel it, okay? And you'll get a phone call from me the day before, okay? Everybody who signs up gets a phone call from me the day before, just to remind you, a polite reminder. And then if they're predicting rain, moderate to heavy rain, then I'll call you to let you know we're canceling it, okay? So, and those go until the very end of August, 8 Saturdays in July and August, okay? So, okay, welcome, yes. And by the way, I'll put in a plug for the Bread and Roses Festival, right? The friends here would kill me if I didn't put in a plug. Okay, so Monday, September 1st, it comes early this year, right? From noon to 6 p.m. on the Company-owned Common, 2 blocks up from here, will be the annual Bread and Roses Festival, all right? Where we commemorate the Great Textile Strike, aka the Bread and Roses Strike of 1912, all right? And it's also a celebration of the American worker and their contributions to our country, all right? So there'll be ethnic food available for purchase there. We'll be doing free trolley tours of Lawrence, okay? I'll be doing my usual walking tours. Those of you that like to do a walking tour with me, I think 1 and 3 o'clock are my walking tours, all right? And we'll have exhibits on the common, demonstrations, performances, things like that, okay? So hope to see you all there for that as well, okay? All right, now, the moment you've all been waiting for, or maybe the second moment from the top you've all been waiting for. Lunch is at the very top, right? The second one from the top is the public reading of the Declaration of Independence, all right? You know this is an annual tradition that I built into this celebration every year, all right? Because you know, this is how word got out back then, right? After July 4th, 1776, they went public with the Declaration, okay? And a series of public readings beginning in Philadelphia, like July 8th or 9th, were held throughout the country, okay? To get the word out to people that we are now free, right? We're free from Great Britain, okay? So we did a series of public readings that summer in 1776 to let the whole country know that we were now free from Great Britain. Okay, so those of you who would like to read a section of the Declaration, if you could please come up to my left here. All right, here we go. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13th United States of America, when, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God, entitle them a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing in powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shewn that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new gods for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. Okay, now, Joe, you just done. Okay, he has refused.
You think he got you riled up? Where did he get the rest of us? Boy, we got bad. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation until his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the rights of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures.
Thank you, Joe. Andrea? Yes, so.
He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time, after such dissolution, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers capable of annexation have returned to the people at large for their exercise. The state, remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose, obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of land. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their office and the amount of payments of their salaries.
Okay. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times and states standing armies without the consent of our legislators. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to civil power.
He has combined with others to subject us to jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and acknowledged by our laws, given his assent to the acts of pretended legislation. For large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by mock trial for punishment for any murders which they should commit inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trading with all possible, for imposing taxes on us, but like I said, for depriving in many cases of the benefit of trial jury, for transporting us beyond the seas.
For abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies. For taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments. For suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation.
He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontier, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In our very stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. The repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people.
Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends.
Tom?
We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America and the General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude and intentions due in the name and by the authority of the good people of the colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states that they are absolved from the allegiance of the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain, and it ought to be totally dissolved, and that the free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all the other acts and things which independent states may have the right do. And for the support of this declaration with the firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll give a round of applause. Okay, so that was for everybody who took part now, and again, thank you all, I appreciate it. And then, of course, we have the names of the signers of the declaration, and of course, John Hancock, first and foremost.
He famously said, "I'm signing it big so fat George in London can read it."
So there you go, there's the explanation for John Hancock's prominent signature on the Declaration, right? Just to stick it to the King of England, right? All right, so just briefly, I'll read the names. So after John Hancock, Josiah Bartlett, William Whipple, Matthew Thornton, Samuel Adams, John Adams, Robert Tree Payne, Elbridge Gerry, Stephen Hopkins, William Ellery, Roger Sherman, Samuel Huntington, William Williams, Oliver Walcott, William Floyd, Phil Livingston, Francis Lewis, Lewis Morris, Richard Stockton, John Witherspoon, Francis Hopkinson, John Hart, Abraham Clark, Robert Morris, Benjamin Rush, Benjamin Franklin, John Morton, George Clymer, James Smith, George Taylor, James Wilson, George Ross, Caesar Rodney, George Reed, Thomas McCain, Samuel Chase, William Parker, by the way, the only Italian to sign the Declaration, Thomas Stone, Charles Carroll, George White, Richard Henry Lee, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Addison, Thomas Nelson Jr., Francis Lightfoot Lee, Carter Braxton, William Hooper, Joseph Hughes, John Penn, Edward Rutledge, Thomas Haywood Jr., Thomas Lynch Jr., Arthur Middleton, Button Winnett, Lyman Hall, and George Walton. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, now, let me check on the status of lunch, okay, and I'll get right back to you, all right?
It was important to Thomas Jefferson to outline the causes of the war. They needed support. For example, France ended up being on our side. And it's important to know, you think about government, we here have no representation, not just a figure of speech. There literally was nobody from any of the colonies sitting in London, going over to London to Parliament. We were very, very, very much second class. And also from the past year, maybe any of you heard or saw there was an important auction with a coin from Boston from a very long time ago. And it turns out that the British were making us use mutilated, no good money. Why? So that only they could trade with us. If the Germans or Dutch came over, they would say, "I'm not taking that money. It's mutilated." So the British knew that they were having a stranglehold on our trade. As everybody who's been a teller, like me, knows, mutilated money is no good.
Thank you, Tom. All right. Well, you know, in the advertising, right, I promised it was a team effort here, Lori and I, right? So you get a package, two of us every 4th of July. Okay, lunch will be ready very shortly, okay, we're not quite ready yet. So, what we'll do, just to give the kitchen staff a little more time that they need, okay, but I promise you it's a delicious luncheon, all right? So, does anybody have any questions about the programs here that we do? I kind of went over them with you already, but does anybody have any particular questions about the programs here? Andrea, yeah.
Have you picked who's doing it July 23rd yet?
No. On the July schedule for the Bring Your Own Lunch program, some of you know Dr. Jörg Siegenthaler, married to Linda, they're friends, longtime friends at the park. He's a retired professor at American University. So he was going to be speaking, but unfortunately, what's today, Friday? I think either yesterday or Wednesday, he contacted me, he has to back out. Yeah, so that's why I have to be determined for July 23rd. All right. If all else fails, you get me. I'll come up with something. Right? And you know what that means? Quiz time, multiple choice quiz.
Who's the speaker for July 16th?
Oh, okay, yeah, a good point. I didn't have room on the flyer to put the speaker's name, so yeah, let me go over those with everybody. Okay, so July 9th now, which is the next Brown Bag Bring Your Own Lunch program, Jim Bochet, okay, the Visitor Services Supervisor here for over 23 years. He'll be speaking on July 9th at 12 noon on the canal out here, the status of the canal. Those of you, Terry Date has been writing articles about it in the Eagle Tribune. Some of you maybe have been following that. He'll be talking about what's up with the canal right now with Patriot Hydropower and the Great Stone Dam on Broadway. Okay. And then the 16th, you'll get me on the 16th, okay, talking about, make sure you circle that, Andrea, right? So I'll be talking about what's a tree city, what's an all-America city, what's a gateway city. We'll go through those and distinguish among them. What are those? Well, I don't know, Sandy, I don't know about that. We might stay away from that, but, you know. So my mother-in-law, Sandy, here is, yes. So her and Gloria here together, joining us now today. So yeah, I'll go over that with you on July 16th, July 23rd to be determined, and July 30th, collecting historical memorabilia. Tom, yes, Tom, yeah. Okay, so if any of you might be interested in starting a collection of historic items, Tom is a foremost authority on that, and when you view his exhibit this afternoon, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so those the speakers coming up there. August, I kind of have an idea now about August, but I'll be sharing that, you know, with the friends through an email blast after in July, sometime in July. So, okay, any other questions about the programs here? Yes, ma'am.
She was very good.
Oh, you were here 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so Cheryl Fay will be performing as Abigail Adams next July 3rd. Yes, she did, and again, those of you who were here, I think you'll all agree, she did a wonderful performance 4 years ago, and it's going to be a different kind of performance next year, but I'm sure equally wonderful, you know, so, yes, so we'll look forward to having her here next July 3rd, all right, so, yes?
Just a FYI, unfortunately, one of my favorites, Grand Puppet, will not be at the festival this year. There was a conflict.
Oh, okay. All right, heads up. Those of you who come to the Bread and Roses Festival every year, you know, like I think one of the main attractions, right, is Bread and Puppet Theater. They're the ones that come in that old green bus, right, like out of the 60s, okay, right? But that's what makes them alluring, right? You know, it's part of their appeal. So, but they're widely popular, right?
And off the top of my head, I forgot who's in their place.
Oh, Andrea, come on. But if it comes to you, let us know after. Okay, so according to Andrea, unfortunately, Red Puppet won't be part of the Labor Day Festival this year, but please do not let that stop you from coming, okay? So we hope to see you all on the Common up here on Labor Day afternoon. Okay, so, yes, so, what else can anything I can answer, again, about Lawrence Heritage here, or any related announcements? Oh, okay, yeah, fine, just briefly, again, they need a few more minutes in the kitchen. So yeah, just briefly, some of you know the history of the building here, but let me just spend, just briefly, okay, if you're not sure about where we all are here today, it's history, okay? This building opened in 1848, okay, as a boarding house for the Yankee, what we call the Yankee mill girls who toiled in the textile mills on the other side of the canal there, what we call the mill island, right? Okay, so for example, in sight there you have the Washington Mills, which are now 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, okay, as of 2008, all right? Those teenage girls who are generally between 14 and 18 years old, and they voluntarily left their farms and villages throughout New England to come to places like Lowell and Lawrence and become what we call the first operatives, okay, in the newly opened textile mills, okay? So, since they were leaving their families, right, they needed a place to live. So Lowell, Lawrence, other places, the owners of the mills, when they were building their mills, they also built these boarding houses to house those teenage girls, okay? So right here on the 3rd floor, where we are today, this used to be where the bedrooms were, okay? It would have been partitioned off, okay? So it was like dormitory style living, right? Those of you that maybe went to a 4-year college and lived on campus, you know what dormitory style living is, right? You got to share your bedroom. So those Yankee mill girls here on the 3rd floor were sharing their bedroom with 3, 4, 5 other girls, okay? And above us here, you see the beams, okay? Some of those bedrooms used to be in the attic above us here, above the beams, okay? And some, you know, unlucky girls got to have their bedrooms above us here in the attic, all right? Freezing in the winter and stifling in the summer. So, all right, but they knew this, right? They voluntarily came to Lawrence to become the first operatives in the textile mills, okay? And it was not meant to be lifetime employment. Generally, they stayed 2 to 4 years, okay? And then they went back home to their farm village, and then a lot of them got married and then started their own families, okay? But by coming here to Lawrence, it had several advantages, okay? So for example, it got them off the farm for a few years, okay? So not milking cows every day, all right? But doing, you know, jobs in the mills here, learning mechanical skills, gaining a sense of financial independence, and exposing them to the urban culture, okay? So there were a few advantages there for those Yankee mill girls getting them off the farm for a few years, all right? But this is where their bedrooms were on the 3rd floor and in the attic. 2nd floor, and do see the museum while you're here today if you'd like, okay? The 2nd floor were the parlors and the sick rooms. 1st floor, where we came in and out from today, those would have been where the kitchens were and the dining rooms, okay? And because these girls had left their families, they needed like an adult figure while they were living here in the boarding house. So these boarding houses were run by what we call matrons, all right? They were generally elderly widows who acted as surrogate mothers for those Yankee mill girls, all right? So they fed the girls here in the boarding house. They had curfew times, okay? They had to go to bed at a certain time, get up at a certain time, meals were at a certain time. No boys were allowed here inside the boarding house, okay? And on Sundays, the matrons made sure those Yankee mill girls went up to the downtown here and attended church, okay? And back then, as you may know, there were only Protestant churches in Lawrence, right? And they were all around the Common. And that was courtesy of the Essex Company, right? Those, we call them textile tycoons, those wealthy investors who developed the city of Lawrence, the Essex Company, right? Okay, and they were all WASPs, all right? So when they developed Lawrence, what did they do? They gave free land on all four sides of the common to Protestant denominations to build their churches, right? Not to the Catholics, but they gave free land to the Protestants to construct their churches around the common, okay? And that's the way Charles Storrow and the other early planners of Lawrence wanted it, okay? So the Catholics, right, and the Irish were the first immigrant group to come to Lawrence, okay? When they first got here, they didn't have the money to build, so they weren't given land by the Essex Company, and they didn't have the money to build their own church, okay? So what they did, and those of you who've taken my tours, you may know some of this stuff already, but every Sunday morning, okay, the Irish Catholics in Lawrence in the late 1840s, they would walk to Broadway and Water Streets, okay? You know where the old Lawton's hot dogs used to be, right? That area there, Water Street and Broadway. The Irish Catholics would walk there every Sunday morning. They would gather there, and then, believe it or not, they would walk like the 11 miles, okay, on a dirt road, which is now 110, to get to Lowell, to go to St. Patrick's there in Lowell to attend Mass, okay? That's what those early Irish Catholic immigrants had to do here if they wanted to attend Mass, okay? Now, also, there was a priest who would sometimes say Mass in people's homes on Newton Street in South Lawrence, okay, by the Shattuck Experiment Station, okay? Sometimes there would be a visiting priest, and he would say Mass like at a home on Newton Street, okay? Other than that, hoof it over 11 miles to Lowell, walking, right? And then walking back to Lawrence, okay? So finally the Irish collected enough money and they built the old Immaculate Conception Church by the Mary Immaculate Nursing Home, okay? That was torn down, although an altered version of it that was torn down in 1991. It became unsafe, and they didn't have enough money to refurbish it. So November of 91, the Immaculate Conception Church came down, okay? So that would have been the oldest Catholic church in Lawrence. So now, the oldest Catholic church would be St. Mary's. As of like the early 1850s, that's when they've been around since, okay? So the Irish Catholics in North Lawrence, they built the Immaculate Conception there, Chestnut and White Streets, okay? And the South Lawrence Irish immigrants built St. Patrick's. Once they gathered enough money, they built St. Patrick's, okay? So you have the Northern Irish here in Lawrence, Immaculate Conception, and the Southern Irish in Lawrence, St. Pat's, okay? So.
The years of the two churches, were they built the same day?
No. So the Immaculate Conception Church was built like in 1847 or so, 46, 47, okay. St. Patrick's, I believe, was the early 1870s when it was built, okay.
The Protestants were way before them.
The Protestants were way before them.
How many years ago were the Protestants?
Okay, all right, Lawrence was developed beginning in 1845, okay, yeah. So there were only about 100 people living. Now we have like almost 89,000. But right prior to development here of the city and the arrival of the Irish immigrants, okay, it was like no man's land. We only had about 100 people living in what was to become the city of Lawrence, okay? No churches, all right? It was like farmland, pasture land, sand dunes, swampy area here, okay? Then the Irish come in, right, coupled with development of the city, and oh my God, the population zoomed upward, okay? So by 1848, we had 6,000 people in what became Lawrence. We went from around 100 people in 1845 to about 6,000 people in 1848, okay? But the first Protestant churches here would have been courtesy of the Essex Company, who gave the free land to the denominations, okay? So, as some of you may know, the first Protestant church here was Grace Episcopal, right up here, right, Jackson and Common Streets. Okay, it was wooden. If you take our Labor Day trolley tour, we go over this with you. The first church was wooden, okay? Surprise, surprise, it burned down, okay? Not long after it was constructed. They learned their lesson, right? Now, of course, back then, wood was cheaper than like brick or stone. That's why a lot of those structures back then were wooden, but they burned easily, right? Okay, so when Grace Episcopal rebuilt as of 1852, they used stone from the rubble of the construction of the dam to build what you see up here now today.
What year was that? What year was that?
The stone church that's there now, a la 1852. Yeah.
Rich, I have good news, folks. Set your watches, less than 5 minutes.
Okay, less than 5 minutes. Okay.
Set your watches.
Thank you for set your watches. Okay, let's continue with a little Lawrence history. Yeah, go ahead.
Getting back to, not to change subject, you said getting back to the dam, where they worked on the dam, the leftover stone was thrown.
Yes.
Those people at the dam, why were they Irish or were they Protestant?
Okay, good question. Okay, so who exactly built the Great Stone Dam on Broadway? Okay, a good chunk of the construction was done by the newly arriving Irish immigrants, okay? Not exclusively, but they had a large hand in constructing the dam. In conjunction with the native population, not Native American, but the native population, the old Yankee stock, okay, that was inhabiting the area here originally, okay? So a combination of the Irish immigrants and the native population built the Great Stone Dam, all for between 75 cents and $1 per day to do the back-breaking work there, okay, of constructing the dam. And again, some of you know this information from my tours, but for those of you who don't, those of you who know this already, just bear with me. So the dam, the granite, okay, that was used on the dam came primarily from two quarries, all right? One of them in Pelham, New Hampshire, the other one in Rockport, Massachusetts, site of one of our sister parks here, Halibut Point State Park. Any of you do the quarry tour there? Lori and I did it. We highly recommend it. Okay. The interpreter who's there, Ramona, she has my position at Halibut Point. She'll give you a nice tour of the quarry there. Okay. We highly recommend it, Lori and I. All right. So Rockport and Pelham is where all that granite came from, and it was brought here by horse and wagon. Okay, and then placed into position there. Okay, unbelievable, I know. Now, down on the first floor, at the end of the exhibit room behind me, we do have an exhibit there on the construction of the dam. If any of you want to learn more about it, before you leave today, first floor towards the back of the room. Okay, so Andrew.
Shanty town, I know it's South Lawrence along the banks.
Yes.
What was the exact primitive?
Okay, so Shantytown. Now, when the newly arrived Irish immigrants came here, they could not afford regular housing, right? They were dirt poor, okay? So they had to live in shanties, basically shacks that were slapped together using discarded building materials, okay? No electricity, no running water, very primitive, right? Straw or grass roofs, okay? They had two primary shanty towns, okay? One was immediately to the south of the dam because they needed to be able to walk to work. They couldn't afford transportation, right? Okay, so immediately south of the dam where Walcott Avenue is, Shattuck Street, Kingston Street, across from St. Patrick's Church, okay? That whole area there, okay, Newton Street, was one of the two big shanty towns, Irish shanty towns in Lawrence, okay? The other one that some people are not aware of was north of the river in what we call the Plains neighborhood, okay? So where the Breen Funeral Home is, St. Anthony's Maronite Church, behind the old Lawrence High School, right? We call that the Plains area. It's flat and open, kind of, right? That used to be the other Irish shanty here in Lawrence, okay? Eventually, when the South Lawrence Irish and the North Lawrence Irish, once they became more prosperous, right, then they moved like to Prospect Hill and Tower Hill, other places, okay? And then other groups came into those areas, okay? So for example, the Plains, right, after the Irish left, It was like a Middle Eastern neighborhood, Lebanese, the Syrians, right? St. Anthony's Church there, St. Joseph's Melkite, St. George's, right? Okay, so it became a big Middle Eastern ethnic neighborhood. Okay, so those were the two Irish shanties. Okay, and if any of you are interested, downstairs, we do have a photograph of one of the shanties in South Lawrence, 1894. It was the last one before it was torn down. We have a nice photo of it downstairs. Okay, so, all right, we're all set.
Thank you.
All right, so, again, thank you all for coming. You're welcome to stay. Check out the museum downstairs if you want. And again, I thank you all for coming. If you want any leftovers, help yourself. Enjoy the rest of the holiday weekend, and hope to see you again soon. Okay, thank you.